going to year 12. My name is Mr. Millership, and I'm here to share with you the A-level practical part of your course. Now, hopefully this will work. Yeah, there's me. I didn't realise I'd be in the bottom corner here. But yeah, really what I want to do is just go over the course with you, give you an understanding of what you're going to be studying, and give you a few little activities to do at the end. So without further ado, let's go into it. Key information. I'll put a recap, but it's more key information for you. We run the AQA course at Saffron County High School. So when you're looking at anything, don't look at Excel or anything. It's the AQA course that you're looking at. Key thing for you to know is that it makes up 30%. So it's a third basically of your course and your final grade. You're assessed in only one sport. Now at GCSE, you're probably more used to being assessed in 3 or 4 activities. It's just the one at A level, and as it says there, it's a full-sided game, so it's not skills and drills anymore. It is you in a competitive situation, which I'll go on to more in the future. Within the first year, we focus on the analysis section, which is worth 20 out of the 45 written marks that you get, and then within year 2, we focus on the evaluation section. I'll go into more detail of those later on in the presentation. The whole non-examination assessment, NEA, you'll hear that quite a lot, is out of 90. Now 45 marks are practically 3 lots of 15. See the spec and I'll give you links to that further on in the presentation. 45 marks are for the AOP, that's analysis of performance coursework, which is your 20 and 25, as you can see just above those bullet points. The lessons, so typically you'll have one lesson per cycle, so one lesson per 2 weeks. We use that for writing up your coursework. You will be writing timelines for your video evidence. I'll go over those in a minute. And more importantly, it's meeting time for me. You'll be in sixth form, you'll be young adults at that time. Really is important that we touch base every 2 weeks. I will spend usually 5 minutes with each individual in the class, going over how you're getting on, any top tips, maybe mark a little bit of your work. Just be that as that base and that contact and support throughout. You will need to make time of your study time, make the most of it. You can't be lazy and slack at all. You must make sure that following that 1 hour with me, you put at least another hour in the study centre, writing up any notes or any information from feedback that I give you. Okay, the written coursework, so purely the written element. You'll be analysing your performance in the first year, and the 3 main sections that you analyse are AOA, so analysis section, basically number 1. That section is all about your attacking skills. So in this section, you pick one attacking skill. So if you're thinking about a hockey player, for example, it might be a shooting technique. The analysis section 2, AOA 2, is defensive skill. So it might be a type of tackle. It's typically something people use in a variety of sports, but it might be a defensive clearance or something like that, but it's got to be a defensive skill. Your AOA 3, your analysis section 3, is a tactical skill. So it might be a footballer talking about playing on sideline, making timing of runs in any sport, but it's got to be something tactically based. And again, there are tips on this in the spec that you can use. So in year 2, you will evaluate your performance. So I don't want to go too much into that because this is 16 months in future, but essentially in the first year you look at what your weaknesses are and you compare them to a perfect model and how you perform them and the differences between the two and the impact on your performance. In year 2 you go into why, so you'll use bits from the spec. It must come from the spec. You'll say, this was my weakness I discussed in my first year. Second year, this is why it happened. It might be due to some muscle fibre weakness. It might be due to anxieties from the psychology part of the course. You then take that further and you say how you will improve it, again using methods that you've learned in the course. That is why year 2, the evaluation, that's worth 25 marks. It's a little bit more than the 20 in the first year, just because of the depth that you need in that work. So there'll be loads of resources. I will give you a template. You'll get a clear template of how to use. In that template, I'll have italic writing of what you need to put in there. Some of it I'll give you the wording for. It's then you creating the work from that template and the tips that I give you. What can you be practically assessed in or as? So there are 2 main things, performer and coach. They're the only two at this level, and as I said there, as you can see, I strongly advise performing. Unless you are a highly qualified coach and you're doing that out of school, performing is the only route to go down at A level. So make sure that that's the route that you take. And again, check the syllabus as to what you can be assessed in. There's a whole range of activities, but make sure you check that. Onto your video footage. Unlike GCSE, we will assess you on your practical through video footage. We won't see you live. It means that the footage you take is absolutely essential, because it doesn't matter if you're an England-based performer. If your footage is not good, that is what you'll be assessed on. Good thing about video footage is that you've got a year and a half basically to get this done. So my advice, and it's going to be on a bullet point in a minute, is that you film as many top-level sporting games or events that you can during the time you're studying your A levels, because what you can then do is just choose the best one. So it works in your favour. I'm not going to lie, there are lazy pupils here, only get 1 or 2 bits of footage and they have to submit it. Don't be that pupil. I'm telling you now, particularly what's going on now, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. Don't be lazy. I'd probably try and get a game or an event once every month or 6 weeks during the course, and then you'll have at the end of it 8, 9, 10 pieces of footage, and you can select the best game at the highest level. My top tips then for the footage, I said there, a timeline. You'll do that at the end. There's no point in doing it for everyone, but at the end, the piece you choose as your best piece, you then have to do every second that you do something in the game and the impact it has. It will take about an hour or 2, but we'll do that just before Easter when you submit it. My top tips then, here we go. They're not mine, these are from the exam board. But 1, record plenty of games. Give yourself the best opportunity. The most important thing is the highest level of performance. When I sit down with the assessor, the first thing they ask me before I press play and we watch the video is, who is it for? What level is this performance at? What league is it in? To get an understanding. So what I don't need, and as all due respect to everyone else, I don't need you going to play some Mickey Mouse game and being a superstar in it, because they will take that into consideration. It has to be the highest level. And if that, for example, is a really high level college game for the 6th form, then get the good ones. You know, get the ones, sounds snobby, but maybe at the private school, you know, when you get up high and it's a fantastic arena and you're against top level performers, that's what you want to be doing. Record it positionally the best, and I've had some shockers over the years. I've had someone recording from the corner flag of a football pitch for a fullback down the other end. Think about the best position. Now, I'll discuss that more with you, but as we get into it, halfway lines of pitches are essential. Yeah. If you're maybe a defender, might want to be slightly one side of the pitch so you're mainly in frame, but get that central location where you get most impact. Hello, hopefully we'll resume recording. Carrying on from where I was just a minute ago, think about the person recording it as well. You don't want someone, again, I've done this now for 10 years. I have had to send people back to get more footage because the person filming it, I call this the Bible. For you, it's the thing to refer to. If you're ever in any question, before coming straight to one of us as teachers, do go into the AQA A-level specification. If you put what I've just put there, AQA A-level P specification 2020 into Google, you will be able to get all the information on there. It's a huge document, but don't be scared by it. About 90 to 100 pages are just individual sports outlines, and you only need one of those 90. The rest of it then becomes a bit smaller. Right, I've rambled on for a good 10 minutes there. In terms of activities for you to do, there is a few things you can do. First of all, a research task. Could you do the following? Yeah, so to understand the NEA, so the non-examination assessment, the practical as it were, so not the sit-down written test element of the course, can you try and do the following? One, open up the spec. There's a link here, you might be able to do that. If not, do what I just said a second ago. Following that AQA 2020P specification. Familiarise yourself with the outline of the spec, page 7 and 8. Coursework task, if you go to page 33, okay, and follow that 4.5 section, it's got lots of information which is really important, and it will make sure that you understand exactly what you need to do in my element. It really is important you do that. Don't pay lip service to it and then in a year and a half time go, oh, I didn't do it. Read it now, understand it. It's pages 33 through to 40. And then after that, read your sport specification, so your particular page. For example, I think I put there, look at just your sport. Like, for example, hockey is page, I can't actually see because I'm hiding it here, but if you go through, find your sport, read the sections. It will say what your attacking skills are, your defensive skills are, what you can be assessed in, give you ideas what you can write your coursework on. Really important that you look at those pages. Right, another thing you can do between now and then, begin to analyse your own performance. And what I would do, if I was in your position, I was about 20 or so years ago, is I'd create a little mind map. So think about your defensive skills and think maybe what skills are potentially slight weaknesses. Okay, I'll put defensive on here. What you would need to do 3 of these. So in the task that I'm setting here, think of an attacking skill, a defensive skill, and a tactical skill. Create 3 mind maps. You do it on one page, and maybe just spill your mind onto a page. Start thinking, right, hockey, right? It's a block tackle. It's my flexibility getting down to the ground at the tackle. I'm weak in the tackle. It might be attacking. It might be an aerial pass. It might be a particular type of slap that you do, a reverse stick hit that you do. Tactically, it might be the way that you press within a unit. It might be the way that you track runners. It might be the way that you engage within a tackle you go into early. There are just a few ideas from hockey that you can think about, but again, across your sport, 3 mind maps: attacking, defensive, strategic, tactical. Create 3 mind maps, create ideas, so when you come back in September, hopefully if you do these, you'll have read the whole spec, the bits and pieces you need to know, you'll have had this presentation, and you'll have some ideas about what we'll be creating throughout the course of that year. I think that's it from me. Hope you hope that's been insightful and that you've got some activities there. It's probably about an hour, 2 hours maximum of activities for you to do, to go through. The more time you spend, the more little notes you make, the more familiar you become with the spec, the better it will be in September. And then, as I say, when we start, I'll give you the templates and we'll get going properly when I see you next. Hope you have a really good summer. And I really look forward to seeing you in some way, shape or form in September. Goodbye.